We're going to look at a passage based question that asks, how does the author develop the idea? When the author was writing this article, how did they develop some idea that's usually kind of hidden a little bit beneath the surface? In order to find the answer to that, of course, you're going to need to reread and hunt through whatever passage or excerpt that you're given. And of course, the passage that we're going to be looking at is from Team Moon, how 400,000 people landed Apollo 11 on the moon. You can find a link to that in the description. Let's look at the question as you have the article next to you ready to look over. How does the author develop the idea of achieving goals over the course of the passage? So, what they're saying is that at some point over the course of this article, probably somewhere within a specific paragraph, it really develops the idea that achieving goals was something that had to happen for the mission to be a success. The possible answers that we have are A, by justifying the need for a team of 7,500 workers, B, by identifying the importance of moon exploration, C, by describing the command module and the lunar module, and D, by explaining the various tasks required to fly to the moon successfully. When you're asked how an author develops an idea or a theme in a passage, think about how the story or the information builds up from the start to the finish. Look for patterns, changes, or specific details that the author uses to make their point stronger. Like I said before, usually those are going to be housed within specific paragraphs for these types of questions. For example, if a passage is about a team working together to achieve a goal, notice how the author might start by showing individual efforts and then gradually show how these efforts come together. The author might use descriptions, examples, or even quotes from people involved to show how teamwork makes that goal achievable. So let's pause there, reread your question, reread the passage, and see if you can find the correct answer, and we'll meet back in just a moment. And let's meet back to look at the correct answer. Let's first look at the incorrect ones. A says, by justifying the need for a team of 7,500 workers. Now, I think the article does do this. It says this isn't the main way the author develops the idea of achieving goals. While the size of the team is mentioned and the variety and enormity of the amount of goals that they have to achieve is there, which would maybe imply that they need more workers, it's not specifically used to show how goals are achieved. If I was going to get this one incorrect, that would probably be the one that I chose because after reading the course through that passage, I'm going to get into my head that we needed a lot of workers to make this happen and that they would make the goals more achievable, but that's not the main or the best answer. B, by identifying the importance of moon exploration. This option doesn't directly address how the idea of achieving goals is developed. The importance of moon exploration is a broader context. It's what everything is working towards, but it's not specifically about the process of achieving goals. There's a better answer. C, by describing the command module and the lunar module. While this description is a part of the text, it doesn't directly relate to how the author develops the idea of achieving goals. It's more about the specifics. It's more just detail that you need for context. It doesn't help answer this question. The one that does answer it best is D, by explaining the various tasks required to fly to the moon successfully. This is the correct answer because the author develops the idea of achieving goals by detailing the numerous and complex tasks involved in the Apollo 11 mission, highlighting the planning, effort, and coordination necessary for success. I find this one to be a very difficult question, especially if you're just coming off of some of the ones we did that required inferencing. It's requiring you to not only read between the lines, have a deep understanding of the article, but also be able to narrow down and find the best answer, whereas others aren't necessarily that bad. The paragraph that really helps answer this one the best is 5. It says, but the moon, could it really be done? Right from the get go, administrators had identified 10,000 individual tasks that would have to be completed. And that was only the beginning. So much to do. Too much? An aide to Kennedy quietly predicted that it would take 44 attempts, 44 tries before ever landing once on the great gray rock in the sky. This section emphasizes the enormity the complexity, just how big and difficult this mission would be. It illustrates the step by step process and meticulous planning required to achieve the ambitious goal of landing on the moon. If our correct answer is by explaining the various tasks required to fly to the moon correctly, this one does it. It identifies and says that there are 10,000 individual tasks that would have to be completed. It develops the author's idea of achieving goals. Unless you have the goal of checking off those 10,000 individual tasks, there is no way that this mission is going to be a success. And that's why D is the best answer.